All right. First things first, Daedalus returns to conquer Atlantis beyond the brave water support. Let's just take a look. This could be for the Umi deck if it really is Daedalus. It is Atlantis, Dragon Lord, Daedalus, level 7 Water Sea Serpent, 2600 attack, 1500 defense. You can only use this card's first and third effect once per turn each. If you control Atlantis, the Dragon City, or Umi. Okay, I think that's a new card. I've never heard that before. You can special summon this card from your hand. Okay, easy enough. This card's name becomes Umi. Wait, the monster is called Umi? Okay. I guess that's a fun twist on it. All right. Because there are some other cards that care about Umi being on the field, and now it's no longer just Umi or the Legendary Ocean. It can be a monster that... Okay. You can send up to 3 face-up Umi. Oh, I have a feeling this is going to be a recurring theme. We can send 3 face-up Umis to the graveyard, add an equal number of cards that mention Atlantis the Dragon City from your deck to your hand, except level 7 monsters. Then you can send 1 card on the field to the graveyard. Okay, bonus effect going second. We love that in this household. Technically not the craziest card, I want to say. Like, it's relatively easy to summon, but it's not a starter. You do need another card on the field already. But if a lot of cards in the archetype have this bonus, then this is like a premium extender. At the same time, sending some cards from your field to the grave to add the same number of cards, not necessarily crazy. Depends on the other cards in the archetype, but it's okay. All right. All right. General of Atlantis, level 5 Water Sea Serpent. You can only use the first and third effect once per turn each. You can discard this card, add 1 spell trap that mentions Atlantis the Dragon City from your deck to your hand. Okay, we have not seen any of these yet, so need to wait for those. This card's name becomes Umi while in the monster zone. Okay. If this card is in your graveyard and you control Umi, you can special summon this card. Okay, this one, I think, as long as the spell trap cards are good, is a very, very obviously strong card. Because it's probably a starter if there's any good spell cards. You discard it, it goes to the graveyard, and then later on, when you play the game, it comes back for free. So that is basically a Rhoda with a bonus, which is really, really good. All right, good one. And then Monstrous Arms of Atlantis, level 4 Water Sea Serpent. Wait, everything Sea Serpent so far? Okay, everything Sea Serpent so far. Okay. So all searchable with stuff like Atlantean Dragoons as well, just throwing that out there. You can only use this card's first and third effect once per turn each. If this card is normal or special, you can target a monster in your grave that mentions Atlantis the Dragon City, special summon it in defense position. This card's name becomes Umi. And when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can banish this card from your field or grave and send a Umi you control to the grave, negate that effect. Oh, a hand trap negate. You guys know how I feel about these. It does only negate, it does not destroy. But this is a phenomenal interruption as well as a way to play through hand traps in an archetype that so far could have pretty decent synergy with Atlantean Mermail. So that is scary. That is scary. The card itself on its own is not a starter, because you do only have the ability to summon 1 from the graveyard, so this is not going to be a great normal summon in the beginning. But still a very scary card. Okay. Fiendish Vortex of Atlantis, level 4 Water Sea Serpent. You can only use this card's first and third effect once per turn each. If this card is normal summoned or special summoned, send 1 card that mentions Atlantis from your deck to the grave, except Fiendish Vortex of Atlantis. This card's name becomes Umi. If this card is sent to the grave and you control Umi, you can special a water from your hand. Okay, it's... What can we do so far? What have we seen? I mean, this makes this card live immediately, right? You can send this from your deck to the graveyard, and then it's a monster effect negation by sending this from field to grave. That's not that crazy, though. That's basically like... normal summoning Koakimeru Guardian, pretty much. Other than that, we can send the General of Atlantis and then bring it back immediately because we do control Umi, which is 2 bodies for free, essentially. Okay. This one only summons from hand, so sending this one from deck to grave wouldn't do anything. So not the craziest targets yet, but it can send any card. So we can also send the spell traps that are about to happen, probably. Oh no, Link monsters first. Okay. Blue Ocean Dragon Lord Neo Daedalus Rage. Oh, that's a retrain of the cover card of the structure deck back then. That's awesome. 2900 attack, needs 4 monsters. If this card is link summoned, you can special up to 3 monsters that mention Atlantis, the Dragon City, from your graveyard to your zones this card points to. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of this turn. Okay, reminds me of Allied Code Talker in that sense, but of course the other effects are likely different. This card's name becomes Umi while in the monster zone. Once per turn, quick effect, you can send the face-up Umi you control to the graveyard. Send all cards on the field to the graveyard except Umi. Oh, okay. That's a fun interaction. Wait. Wait, hold on a second. This card's name becomes Umi. Send one face-up Umi you control to the grave. Send all cards on the field to the grave except Umi. You can send itself. You can send itself. And technically, it's a generic monster. It does need 4 monsters. It's a Link 4 that actually needs 4 monsters. You can't Link climb. You can't cheat the system with like a Link 3 and a Link 1. Which is not cheating the system because that's how Link monsters work. But you know what I mean. But technically, any 4 monsters, even tokens, can wipe the entire board, right? Because we can just send itself to the graveyard as a quick effect, send all cards to the grave. Interesting. Okay. I mean, it's a big investment, so I'm not sure how generically useful this card is actually going to be, but just pointing it out that that does work. In the deck itself, it seems like a great endboard piece. I mean, at the end of your combo, summon it, bring back all your guys. And then at any point, you can send the card away to do it. It's also not hard once per turn. I don't know if it's easy to summon multiple of these. You could technically... Also, no, yeah, no, they would stay. Because your board stays if they're all called Umi. So that's interesting. Okay. Good card. Good card, but I like that it's not just a straight up boss monster negate like Allied Code Talker, but technically the archetype already has a negate with the monster's arms. Okay, we got more Link monsters. Lavia Dragoon Daedalus, Link 3 that required... This one needs water monsters. I wonder why this one doesn't need water monsters, but okay. You can only use the first and third effect once per turn each. If this card is Link summoned, special a monster that mentions Atlantis, the Dragon City from your deck. Okay. So any 3 water monsters, you can just summon out a monster negate as well if you want to, right? This can send from field or grave, yep. Okay. It's also Umi. And during the main phase, quick effect, send a face-up Umi you control to the grave. Your opponent discards their entire hand, and if they do, they draw the same number of cards. Neither player can activate cards or effects in response. Oh, okay. This is funny, because this prevents the Droll and Lockbird combo with this. That's probably why they put this on here. I mean, discarding the opponent's entire hand and letting them redraw, unless there's other effects in the deck that have synergy with this, that is dangerous, depending on the matchup. I mean, sometimes it's good. If, let's say, your opponent activates Fallen of the White Dragon in hand, and then you let them discard it, and then they draw new cards. Yes, they have the same number of cards as they did before, but they cannot summon the Fallen of the White Dragon, so you essentially negated that effect in that sense. But you also replaced it for your opponent, and discarding the rest of their hand is potentially dangerous for you if they have a lot of graveyard effects. So... interesting choice. Why? I don't know why this is on here. I mean, maybe there's more synergies later with this, but okay. And here's Atlantis, the Dragon City. Okay. You can only use the third effect once per turn. The levels of all monsters in both players' hands and fields are decreased by 1 while you control a monster that mentions Atlantis, the Dragon City. Okay, that's probably a callback to Legendary Ocean. However, that is now 2-sided, and that is potentially a floodgate against some decks. So this is going to be a really annoying card to go against if you're playing a certain, like an Exceed strategy or a Synchro strategy that requires certain levels. So that is that. Okay. You can link summon Daedalus monsters with 1 less material. Reduce the number of materials listed for the link summon of all Daedalus monsters by 1. Isn't that technically 2 times the same sentence? Wait, is it supposed to stack? I can link summon Daedalus monsters with 1 less material. And I reduce the number of materials listed by 1. So does this mean... Does this become a link 1? Or is this just... redundant? But why would they put that on there twice? Why would they put this on here twice? Unless the translation is weird. If this card is in your grave and you control Umi, you can place this card on your field. Oh, okay. Alright. Okay. We're sending that. We're sending that with the Fiendish Vortex. Okay. So if this works the way I think it does, that is very, very broken. And that absolutely, I take it back with cheating the system on the 4 link materials, because if this works the way I think it does, this would make this a link 1 and this a link 2. Which is kind of crazy. Even if it doesn't work twice, even if this is worded in a weird way, and you still need only 1 less, this would be a link 2 and this would be a link 3, which does make them significantly better. Okay, it's funny to me that this is the card that's not named Umi. Like, every monster in the deck is named Umi, but the field spell is just Atlantis the Dragon City. Yeah, this second effect confuses me. But okay. Atlantis Call. Normal spell card. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn. Add a monster that mentions Atlantis the Dragon City from your deck to your hand. Then if you control Atlantis the Dragon City, you can negate the effects of an effect monster your opponent controls until the end of this turn. If you control Umi, you can banish this card from your grave. All waters you control gain 500 attack and defense. Phenomenal card. Also makes this one up here a perfect starter for the deck. As I said earlier, all we need is a good target for it, and this basically just means we can just search any monster, summon it, and then we can bring back this guy for free. That's really strong. Yeah, and we get a small bonus effect from the graveyard that sometimes is not going to be that small. If you just spam a bunch of monsters and then just banished your reinforcement of the army that you used earlier to get like plus 2000 damage or something, that's pretty massive sometimes. Of course, not the reason to play the card, but yeah. Also, the bonus effect going second when you already have the field spell is pretty neat. Okay, chat is saying that this is supposed to be 1 sentence. So it's not a completely broken way. It is very weird to be worded this way. But okay, it's just a weird translation. It makes more sense that way, because the other way would have been incredibly broken. If this was a link 1 and this was a link 2, that would have been completely insane. But I do think it's just, this is basically a link 2 and this is a link 3. Atlantis Advent. You can only use the second and third effect of this card's name each once per turn. This card's name becomes Umi while on the field. During your main phase, you can place Atlantis the Dragon City or Umi from your deck face up in the field zone. Okay, more consistency. If this card is sent to the grave, add a level 7 Sea Serpent monster from your deck to your hand. Oh! Wait, this is a good Foolish Burial Goods target, maybe even in general, or a good discard for certain strategies. Okay, it only adds level 7 Sea Serpents. What comes to mind? Mermail? And then in this deck, you can only search this, which to me is one of the weaker cards in the deck, personally, from what I've seen so far. It's not bad by any means, but it's like, it's kind of weak. Also, is this called Umi? This card is Umi, so you can send... Okay, that's a good send. That's a good send for this. Because you can send one Umi and then add another card, and then this card triggers. That's neat. Okay. I mean, you're still going to play this card probably, because it just gets you the field spell for free. And then you have an extra Umi on the board that you can use for some other effect. So you're going to play it, and then sometimes it's going to be a really good bonus effect here in the graveyard. But you can also play this in other decks, maybe as a discard or send for goods, if you want to add a level 7 Sea Serpent. So a good card as well. Okay, dude, they're serious about this. This is good stuff. Daedalus Maelstrom, Counter Trap. I love searchable counter traps. You can only use one of the 2 effects once per turn. When your opponent would normal or special a monster while you control Atlantis the Dragon City, negate the summon, and if you do, destroy that monster. Then if you control a water link, you can destroy all non-waters on the field. Okay, at least it can't negate spell traps. but that's pretty strong for a searchable counter trap. You can banish this card from your grave and send a face-up Umi you control to the grave, then target a monster your opponent controls, send it to the graveyard. Okay, you can only use one of the two effects, but this means that, let's say it does get lightning stormed to play around the first effect, you still get an interruption from it in the graveyard, which is actually very, very relevant. Because otherwise, you know, maybe Lightning Storm would be a little too strong against this deck, or would be a good counter to this deck, but yeah, okay. Fish, Sonar, Alternate Art. Okay. Sure. Whoever wanted that. These are good. These are good. Now, when I saw Umi, I was expecting more cards for like the, you know, there was already an Umi deck out there with like the Electric Jellyfish and the, I forgot its name, the Kairyushin, I think. That was more of a stun deck. This is a completely different direction, which I'm all here for. I'm all for moving away from the stun. At the same time, maybe there's a world you can still do the stun stuff in this deck, and that would be the worst case scenario, where now it's just a combo deck that also has like searchable floodgates. That would be kind of weird. Other than that, I mean, I think these cards are good, first of all, just to get that out of the way. I'm not sure if they're going to end up being a good enough deck as a whole, but there's some really, really interesting cards overall here. The only negative things I have to say is I'm not a huge fan of giving them a monster effect negation on the first turn of the game, because I think especially with Water Sea Serpents, that is extremely dangerous, because this could just be mashed with Atlantean Mermaid and lead to some really, really broken endboards if they can also negate any hand trap, which is rough. Other than that, I think the interactions are cool, except for, you know, reducing all the levels against XYZ decks or something. That's kind of cringe. And they have a counter trap, which at least doesn't negate spell traps, but still is a really powerful counter trap for going first. And I think they can search it in multiple ways. So, okay, mixed feelings on this, but they are strong. I guess let me know what you think. But I think that's pretty high card quality. Not what I really expected from this set or from Umi support in general, but definitely better than I thought it was going to be.